Alright, the last thing we're going to be learning about for this lab is how to use gedit and how to compile a Java program. So here we have a terminal. As you can see, I am in my home directory. So I'm going to navigate to the place I want to make the file. In this case, I want to make the file in my homework2 directory. So I'm going to move into my fall directory, then into my CS170 directory, and then into my homework2 directory. I have a file called hello.java in here, but I'm going to make a new file. And again, as you can see, I'm in my homework2 directory. So I'm going to start up gedit. So I type G-E-D-I-T at the prompt, and now I'm going to add an ampersand after that. All right, I'll show you in a minute what happens if you don't have the ampersand, but for right now I'm going to have my ampersand after my command, and I'm going to type enter. And as you can see here, I have a gedit window that's popped up. There's nothing there yet. Over here in my terminal window, notice that I have my prompt. I can still navigate in my terminal, and I'm still getting output from my terminal. Now let me show you what happens here. Let me go ahead and close gedit. You can close either by clicking on the X or by navigating to the file and clicking quit. Either one is fine. Let me show you what happens here if you do gedit and you don't put the ampersand. So in this case, I'm not going to put the ampersand. I type enter. Gedit looks the same. It opens. There's nothing there. But notice that over here in my terminal window now, I don't have my prompt back. There's nothing here. If I type cursor keys or anything, I get strange characters, but there's no prompt. So what this ampersand does is it launches the application, in this case gedit, in the background. All right, and so that allows us to keep the terminal. If we don't launch it with that ampersand, we don't have anything, we don't have any more control over our terminal until we close gedit, and now you notice that I got a whole bunch of prompts there that were all the keystrokes I typed while gedit was open. So gedit was blocking my keyboard to my terminal. So this is why we always want to launch gedit with an ampersand after it. Alright, so I have gedit here. Now I'm going to start making a very simple Java program here. You may get some warnings in your terminal window. That's fine. You can open another terminal or just ignore it if you want. So in this case, I'm going to do public class demo. I'm doing something very simply here. Public static void main string bracket bracket args, opening curly brace, closing curly brace, and in this one I'm not going to do anything other than system.out.println demo of lab skills. All right. Now notice there's no syntax highlighting here. I'm going to go ahead and save. You can either use Control S, you can use the file menu, or you can click the save button here. And you notice that by default the directory here is the directory that I started gedit. So that's very useful. So in this case, remember your class name must match your file name. So here I'm going to do demo.java, and now I have my syntax highlighting on. Some things that you might want to turn on in gedit the first time you use it. If you go to Edit and then the very last menu option is Preferences, there's several things in here you may want to change. You may want to change the font size, but the first one here under the View tab that you'll want to look at is Display Line Numbers. That will turn on the line numbers like we've talked about in class. The other thing that I like is down here in the highlighting part of that tab, there's highlight matching brackets, and I always turn that on. That allows the text editor to show you where a parenthesis opens or closes, and allows you to match up your brackets and your parentheses and your curly braces easily. Some students like the highlight current line. You can turn that on as well. And there's lots of other things you can do here, but those are the two that I always recommend that students turn on. When you close it, it will save those preferences, and you should have those. Okay, so now we have a file. It's been saved. If you see a little asterisk up here by your file name, that means it's not, you've made changes and it hasn't been saved. So you can always kind of look at that as a visual cue. Okay, even if you get errors on your command line, that's okay. You can see here that we still have our files and our terminal window is still functional. If you type clear, C-L-E-A-R, that will clear out the window of everything there. All right, so now I have my Java program. Now we're ready to compile and run. So at the command line, at the prompt, I issue javac for my compiler, and then the file I want to compile, demo.java. No errors, so it compiled fine, so now I can run it. If you have errors, obviously you'll need to go back to gedit, change your file, correct the errors, save, and try to recompile. You can't run until you can compile. I'm going to go ahead and run it. Remember, when we run the Java Virtual Machine, we don't actually need an extension on our file, so I can just say Java demo, and as you can see, we now have a demo of the lab skills. If you do something and if you forget and type Java demo.class, you'll get an error that looks like this: could not find or load main class demo.class. So remember, when you run Java, you don't need the extension, but when you run javac to compile it, you do need the .java extension. So this was just a little quick tutorial on how to launch gedit from the command line, because remember, all programs, all applications, regardless of whether or not they have a GUI, can be launched from the command line in Linux. So we've now seen how to launch gedit from the command line. We've seen how to write a really simple little program in Java, compile it, and run it.